Hello friends, happy hump day. How is everyone? If you are jumping on, go ahead and say hi. If you're watching the replay, say replay. And if you are new to watching my videos, welcome. Go ahead and say new so I can reach out and say hi. This might be something that I kind of don't know where I'm going to go with this today. You know, I said I'm going to talk about perseverance. And I'm not sure if I want to go with the business angle. Hey, Kim. Hey, Candace. Hey, Brandy. Hey, Lori. Hey, Victoria. Hi, everyone. I'm not sure if I want to go with the business angle of perseverance or my life story of perseverance. But I think I'm just going to kind of try to mix it up. Hi, yeah, my hair. So, you might notice a little bit longer than yesterday. It's this new shampoo I'm using. Just kidding. So, yeah, I went and got some hair. And I'm feeling a little fancy today, but I'm kind of obsessed with it. So I'm going to try not to play with it so you guys just, think it's natural. Just kidding. So thank you. Yeah, I really love it. I've not had anything like this before, so it's kind of like a big thing. So anyways, thanks. My hair was kind of thinning out because of losing all the weight. So I just wanted to do something for myself. So that's kind of what I did. Thank you, Nina. I appreciate that. So anyways, we're going to talk about perseverance. Like I said, I was thinking about doing it from the business aspect. I'm just going to just go all out there. I really don't know where I'm going with it. But I'm going to talk about some stuff, some hard stuff. And I hope that, it reaches someone. It's not stuff that's just so easily for me to talk about in an audience that may not understand. But I'm pretty confident that when we share stuff that might be a little harder, it's going to help at least one person, and that's worth it. So many of you know that I am in recovery from drugs for several years. I was actually an IV heroin user, and it was really bad. And I don't say like bad, like I have multiple felony convictions because I stole from my family and other things. I have overdosed. I overdosed several times and they had to use Narcan to bring me back. We're talking suicide attempts, and we are talking multiple, and I say dozens of stays in rehabs and long-term treatment centers that were always a failure, in and out, in and out. And I was kind of known for like breaking my family's heart because I would give them some hope that things were going pretty well. And then it wouldn't be too long that I would be using again. We have a term that we call chronic relapser, and I was what you would call a chronic relapser. So I want to take you back to a time where I say like kind of started my recovery process, and I'm going to like kind of paint this picture for you a little bit. Let's say I was on felony probation, and it's intensive probation at the time. And you had to report to a probation officer, and you had to call a phone number twice a week, and everyone was assigned a phone number, a color, right? And my color was blue, which I always think is ironic because blue is my favorite color, but I was not happy when they said blue because blue meant that I would have to go and drop a urine for the probation department. So I had already messed up several times on this chance of probation. I'm going to say this is in 2009. I messed up so many times already. She had tried so much. She had, I was on the methadone program. If anyone knows what that is, I was going there daily to take methadone for a while. I did detoxes. So she tried to work with me, but I was just always dropping dirty. And she said, you had one more chance. You had one more chance. But of course, I did what addicts do, and I started using again. And I called, and it was back in August 2009, and it was blue. It was blue, and I was like, I am going to go to prison. My time on the shelf at that time was 7 years. 7 years in prison is what I was looking at. Suspended sentence. This was for just making horrible choices to support my drug habit. And I was just so tired of letting down everyone. My parents were out of town at the time. And I knew I had missed dropping for probation. And I knew it was just going to be the end, right? And I had a check coming in like a day. I was supposed to go maybe pick it up like in a day or two. I had a vacation check from Red Lobster, I remember. And it was like morning. I woke up. I was feeling sick. I was feeling sick because I was in withdrawal. And I knew I had to go get the check. So I decided that I was going to kill myself. I drafted the text to my dad and mom, and I decided I was going to get that money, and I was going to get enough heroin, and I was going to kill myself because I just felt so hopeless. But then that morning I heard knock on the door, a pounding, pound, pound, pound. It's a police knock. The police were at my door, which was really crazy. And they wouldn't stop pounding, and I was like with my boyfriend at the time. I was kind of like, oh my God, the police, they're coming to get you. They're coming to get me. In Franklin County, the U.S. Marshals serve all felony warrants, so it was the U.S. Marshals. So they stopped knocking, and I was like, whew, okay, they're gone in my head, right? Yeah, they left. I didn't answer the door, so they left. But that's what I thought, you know, back then. So I was like, well, let's go get the dope. And I remember I was like putting my pants on, like leg in my pant, and they kicked down the door. They kicked down the door, and guns were drawn. Brittany Mecke, we're U.S. Marshals. We're here to serve you with a warrant. And I was just like, and it was over. And it was over. I remember I was crying. They took me in the car. You know, they were going to find me no matter where I went. They had a huge file. And they were like, you're going to be really sick, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be sick. I remember still crying the whole ride there. Crying when they were booking me. They were like, do you want to kill yourself? They ask you that when you're getting booked. And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know because I didn't know if like this was what I needed. I didn't know what was gonna happen. So I did go through severe withdrawal cold turkey on the cell of the county jail floor. It was horrible. It was a very humbling experience. I did not have any of the drugs that you usually get when you enter detox. They ended up giving me something because I could not stop my vomiting, and they were basically afraid I was going to be dehydrated. My mom was the first person. Actually, the first person to come and visit me was someone from Narcotics Anonymous. So that always means a lot to me. She brought me whites, which is like bras and panties, so you don't have to keep wearing the same one. And she brought me some shirts and basic text, and a meditation book. And I was so sick I had to cut off our visit, but I'll never forget that she made the time to come. And then, you know, my mom came, and so I sat there 90 days awaiting to hear. The my probation officer at the time, his recommendation was to revoke my probation and have me do my time. She said she never stayed clean, and we're just gonna have her do her time. That's what her recommendation was to the judge. My mom came to every court date, and in jail, those 90 days, you really can't do anything but think. And I remember I started reading the meditation every day. I started reading the Bible for a while. I'd sign up to maybe get picked to be able to go to church or go to a meeting. And I just remember feeling like so free in jail, more free than I had ever felt of those years of in and out, physically addicted and mentally addicted to a drug. And I knew that whatever was going to come from whatever the judge was going to decide, it just was not, even if it was going to be 7 years in the Ohio Reformatory for Women, it was not going to be as bad as it could be, you know, because I was going to die out there. And, but it took me a while, and for a while I was mad at my probation officer, but now it's kind of like, thank you, right? So anyways, it ended up that the judge, and I'll never forget him, Honorable Judge Tim Horton, if you laugh, you know, like the coffee shop. So Honorable Judge Timothy Horton looked at me, and he was like, and you know, and I was in my jail greens, and he was just like, Brittany, you know, I really think that you can do this. And he decided to reinstate my probation and let me leave on house arrest until I could enter a halfway house program. They have either the Alvis House or the CBCF. CBCF is a community-based correctional facility. So I was shocked. He was going to give me another chance after I had violated for so long. And he really didn't know me at all. So that I had to wait a little bit, in a couple days, and I was released on an ankle monitor. My mom let me stay at her house until I was able to get approved to go into one of the programs. I ended up doing the Alvis House. The Alvis House is typically a 6-month program, but I just went. I wanted to do it. I wanted to do everything, and I completed the 6-month program in 2 months, and I was able to get out. Things, of course, haven't been perfect since then. But I do know that it took me bumping my head and being so hopeless, like, to where, you know, I didn't think I could get any lower, to finally, like, realize and, like, just accept where I was in life, and then kind of just finally start doing the right thing. And I kind of do a lot of things now from that angle. Definitely my business, right? But as far as I just, it's just really about doing the next right thing and persevering through the hard times. And let me tell you, the jail is not easy. Of course, right? It's not supposed to be. Drug addiction is not easy. And I just remember finally being at that. Thanks, Chelsea. I just remember finally being at that point where I wanted to be done. And it was almost like a, intervention, like a divine intervention that finally did it for me. So that was part of a life story of my perseverance. So because of my record and going through all of that and me finally being clean, the years after have been very hard because I am a convicted felon. May not look like it. I may look like a wife and a mother, and people have no idea, but I am I have several felony convictions. And that's made life really hard, and I have felt as hopeless in recovery because of that as I did in my addiction. And I've mentioned this before. We've had to almost face homelessness because no one would want to give me the chance to live at their house, and this is like years later, over a year after my crimes. I've talked about never job turned down, never being able to advance in job, and feeling so hopeless because of that situation. But the thing that happens is people like us that has gone through something hard, you start to become really resourceful. And so that's when I kind of had to take it into my own hands, which leads me to joining the business that I'm in now. And so if we talk about the business I'm in now, it did not start that great, right? I have no experience. I do not come from other companies where I brought, which is I've been networking my whole life, but I haven't been in network marketing. I didn't have like a huge following. I really had to start from the ground up. So those first few months for me, very hard. And I remember again feeling hopeless. I remember again watching people that would join and they would all shoot through the ranks. And I was just like, when is it going to be? What can I keep doing? But I just had to focus on what I was doing and, work on doing the next thing for me. And there are people that get clean right away, but I'm not one of those people. There are people that, everyone has a different story. And I had to remind myself of the times I've gone through hard things in my life to kind of realize that this is kind of a hard time right now in the business. But what I know is that it does get better and it get easier as long as I keep putting that one foot in front of the other and keep doing all the things that are suggested and living in the solution instead of the problem, and not using things as an excuse on why I should stop, because I remember wanting to stop because I was never going to get a job because of my record. I remember wanting to stop because I've tried to get clean so many times and it wasn't going to happen. So I just stopped making excuses for myself. And that's kind of what I did with this business. And I will say I joined in July and I just wasn't doing much as far as no one wanted to join me, obviously. And the one thing I learned about that is I had to become the person that I wanted to join me. And a couple of my top leaders, I can say I never ever even reached out to them. They messaged me because they started seeing my passion, and they started to see me grow. And that's what appealed to them. So I would challenge you to become the person that you want to attract. And that's what's kind of worked for me. Going through, things taking so slow off in this business, a lot of people quit so early. And the same thing we say about recovery. It's just in recovery, we say, don't leave before the miracle happens. And it's kind of the same, with these businesses, don't leave before, anything can happen. And I always think about, what if I would have left in month 3 or month 4 when I couldn't get anyone to sign, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't. It's just all about holding on and going through those whole times and just putting one foot in front of the other. That's kind of what's been on my mind. Like I said, I wanted to just kind of think about times in my life I persevered and times in my business where I persevered, because things aren't always going to be easy. I remember I had a doctor tell me, he was and I remember I was I'm so sick. And, I didn't say, he was well, no one promised you a rose garden. And I always tell myself that, no one promised you a rose garden, Brittany. It's going to be hard sometimes, but it's just going to be worth it. So, thanks you all for jumping on and letting me share part of my story with you. If this helps you at all, or if you think there's someone out there that might need to hear it, go ahead and share it. I really appreciate that. I definitely appreciate all the comments, the likes, and the support. So you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.